Thanks for joining us. And we're going to go ahead and get started with some introductions on the team that's on here today. So just a little bit about us. We are part of the regional program manager team at AJAC. And so we do a lot of the communication with employers, and really our primary customer on the program manager team is our employers, talking to you, letting you know about our apprenticeship programs. So we just want to introduce you to the whole team. There's a couple people that are missing today, but they still definitely deserve some introductions. So you can see on the left here, we have Bree Durham, who is our director of this team, Director of Business Development and Programs. Some of you may be familiar with her. She helps start up any new programs that we have and really directs the strategy for our entire team across the state. And then we also have Erin Williams on the team, who is out on maternity leave, which is very exciting. So we always love having, new babies on the team. It's great. So she's on maternity leave right now, but she's the regional program manager for the North Sound, so Northwest Washington, kind of like North Seattle up to the Canadian border. And then my name is Heather Collins. I'm the manager of business development at AJAC, and I'm based primarily in Central Washington. So that includes Yakima, Moses Lake, Tri-Cities, which is a little more Eastern Washington, but we throw it into the Central Washington region. And then recently Wenatchee as well, which has been a really exciting area for us to grow. And I'm going to pass it over to, Amy and the rest of the team to introduce themselves.
Thanks, Heather. I'm Amy Suter. I am the regional program manager that covers kind of Central Puget Sound. So Erin kind of covers kind of North Seattle. I pick up kind of South Seattle and follow down through down I-5 into North Olympia. Dennis.
Thank you, Amy. I'm Dennis Matson. I'm the regional program manager for Northeastern Washington, as well as Northern Idaho. I do dip down into Boise as needed, and hopefully we'll continue to span it that way. Damien.
There we go. Unmute. I'm Damian Majesta. I'm the regional program manager for Southwest Washington. So my region is from Olympia down south and out to the coast and into Oregon.
So I think we're going to pass it over to Dennis now to kind of do an overview of AJAC and some of the programs we offer for those of you that are, kind of new to AJAC. So.
Well, thank you, Heather. Good morning and welcome. I'd like to begin with a brief overview of AJAC. We were founded in 2008 as a nonprofit, non-union organization. Our original focus was to develop aerospace apprenticeship programs to meet the skilled labor shortage in the aerospace industry. Since that time, we've evolved to develop and provide non-traditional apprenticeships for a variety of advanced manufacturing occupations. AJAC is an industry-recognized registered apprenticeship program. Each of our graduates receive a journey level card. We offer programs in adult apprenticeship anywhere from 18 to 60 months, in youth apprenticeship up to 24 months, and a pre-apprenticeship program anywhere from 10 to 12 weeks. Each of our apprenticeship occupations have an oversight committee. One of these is for our production occupations, another is for logistics and operations, and our third one is for maintenance occupations. Next slide, please, Heather. I'd like to take a couple minutes and provide a quick update on some proposed legislation being reviewed by the legislature. This is State Bill 5721. It's known as a training tax credit. This is a proposed incentive for the private sector to invest in training and education for advanced manufacturing. The reason for this legislation is threefold. The demand for production talent has doubled post-pandemic. 82% of aerospace and advanced manufacturers need to fill open positions. And 88% of industry employers want to develop a training program for their workers. So as an incentive to industry, they're proposing a B&O tax credit where businesses can claim up to 50% of their annual B&O tax as a credit for training and education of their labor force. This includes the AJAC Apprenticeship Training Program. As you can see on the slide, AFA, or Aerospace Futures Alliance website, has more information regarding this proposal. Next slide, please, Heather. As you can see by this slide, we've grown to 12 apprenticeship occupations. When AJAC was founded, we had only one apprenticeship occupation, and that was for machinist. The growth was a result of industry input seeking apprenticeships to meet their organizational needs. To say the least, we appreciate the input and look forward to developing additional occupations. A recent example of this is we developed a machine operator apprenticeship specifically for the food industry. Additionally, we recently also revised the CNC programmer occupation because of industry input. I'd like to draw your attention to two of our newest occupations. The first of these is operations. The second is logistics. And these will be discussed in more detail later in our presentation. Additionally, Heather will speak about A&P mechanic, our latest proposed apprenticeship occupation. When we look at the value of apprenticeship, that's okay. When we look at the value of apprenticeship, it can be summed up succinctly. We provide employers with a skilled labor force through AJAC at no cost. AJAC's apprenticeship program has value-added features. One of these is to provide mentorship training. This is a workshop for your supervisors or your foremen, where we teach them to use their leadership skills to effectively transfer their knowledge and their skills to apprentices. We also have customized on-the-job training. We have the ability to tweak the training to meet your organizational needs. Another added feature is we provide college-level curriculum. We've articulated with local community colleges so that AJAC's classes receive college-level credit. Apprentices can earn anywhere from 15 to 60 credits, depending upon the occupation they're enrolled in. And in addition, the college tuition for each program is reduced by 50%. A nice feature that we have is apprentices have access to the Washington College Grant. This past year, we paid out over $250,000 in college grant funds. Our eligible participants received up to $4,400 to help with expenses related to their education. These expenses are broad in scope. They go from tuition, books, fuel, babysitting, and other expenses as they occur. Another feature we have is we have a training and hiring pipeline through our youth apprenticeship program, manufacturing academy, and WorkX programs. Again, these will be discussed in more depth later in our presentation. With that, I'd like to turn the presentation over to Amy Suter.
Thanks, Dennis. Great overview. Appreciate that. So we're now going to talk a little bit about specifics. When you think of apprenticeship, a lot of people hear unions. They come from unions. We are very similar. We have the same kind of features to ours. There's the on-the-job training, and there's your classroom training. What we do is we're an incumbent worker apprenticeship. So it's your employees on your shop floor. So AJAC apprentices continue to work their regular full-time job, full-time hours, on the job training. You just continue, they'll just start recording those hours. And we can certainly help with any kind of rotation, training plans, extra features you might need to enhance your training on the job, but they're your employees on the job training, and that's 93% of what apprenticeship is. The second aspect is where AJAC comes in and helps you. We provide the classroom training. All apprentices attend a class one night a week for 4 hours, either at their local community college or one of our local hosted facilities. Or we can, in the future, we'll talk about, maybe it'll be a cohort. Maybe you want to do it on site at your facility, but it's your employees, your training, with us, our classes. Heather, next slide, please. So talking about that training model. So as I said, classes are offered one night a week. Students attend either in person or online. We found during the pandemic, we were able to continue training because we were able to enable classes online. And when they are online, that doesn't mean they're just sitting in front of their computer, just reading or watching a video. They are live lectured. They are interactive with their other students. So it's really a great way to for us to host more classes, more opportunity for students in our programs. There is also the possibility of hosting a training cohort at your facility. Maybe you have 14 people, 14 supervisors that want to take the operations specialist program. Well, let's talk about how could we host it at your facility, on your site, maybe even have someone in your employer host and train one of the classes. We'd love to talk about how we can make things more personal to what your facilities need. And if one of your employees wanted to be instructor, all our instructors are part-time AJAC employees from industry. They have real world experience. They know what your employees are facing and have been through. They can bring real world experience into the training that they do. So if you have somebody that wants to be a part-time employer, a part-time trainer, we'd love to speak to them. And finally, apprentices can be enrolled year-round. We don't have to wait to the fall or a certain time of year. If you've got an apprentice, we can be ready to enroll them anytime because classes start quarterly. We follow the same kind of structure as community colleges where we do fall, winter, and spring classes and some summer. Next slide, I think I'm going to hand it over to Damien to talk about our new programs.
Unmute. There we go. Thank you, Amy. Really appreciate it. So we have 2 new programs that we're really excited about. These programs are logistics and operations specifically built for manufacturing. They're both 18-month program. So that's 3,000 hours. One has 5 classes, the other has 6. So if for logistics specialists, these are for people who are responsible for moving, storing, issuing, or otherwise managing materials. The operations specialist is for your employers who are currently in or you have identified for leadership roles, so like leads, supervisors, and managers. Next slide, please. So these are some of the classes, we call them RSIs. For the logistics specialist, these classes include operation and supply chain essentials, communication, and Lean and Six Sigma, of which they will graduate with their green belt, which is pretty cool. Next slide, please. So our operations specialist is really designed to kind of build or enhance your future and current leaders, right? So this is for your supervisors, this is for your leads, your managers, that sort of thing. So again, they will receive their Six Sigma green belt and attend a variety of leadership-oriented classes. So this is really focused towards leadership and communication and cross-departmental functioning and that sort of thing. For our ERP course, students will be learning on ProShop, and that's both for operations and for logistics. So these are 2 of our new programs that we're really excited about and we think can be really beneficial to the manufacturing sector. All right.
All right, covering some of our upcoming programs that we have, as Dennis mentioned, AJAC has expanded from 1 apprenticeship occupation up to 12, and we're always looking to continually expand, whether that's reworking some of our programs or adding new programs based on employer feedback. So all of that to say, if you have any ideas for us on how we can expand or rework some of our programs, we're always open to that. We love feedback. All of our programs have been built with employer input. And so that being said, the first upcoming program I'd like to talk to you about is our CNC programmer. This is a rework of a program that we had based on employer input. The CNC programmer we have kind of labeled as a career kind of progression apprenticeship. So this is meant for either employees that have finished AJAC's machinist program or are experienced machinists, and a way to continue to develop and build their skills as a programmer. There are some prerequisites that are needed for the CNC programmer apprenticeship as far as those machinist skills that I mentioned, but depending on the experience of that person and education of that person, it is either a 2-year or a 3-year program after we review their application to get into the CNC programmer apprenticeship. This is fully approved. We've gotten everything ready to go. We just have a little bit more rework of the classes to go through. So the CNC programmer will start in the winter quarter. So we have a little bit of time. So if you have any machinists on the floor, or any graduated apprentices that are interested in CNC programming, please reach out to us. We'd love to get them enrolled for the winter quarter. Normally classes start in January after the holiday break. So another program that we have upcoming, this one is brand new. We are getting approval next week. We're presenting it to the Washington State Apprenticeship Training Council, and that is our airframe and power plant mechanic, or A&P mechanic program. What's great about this program is that students or your employees can choose whether they're getting airframe, power plant, or both certifications. And we're working very closely with the established guidelines for this apprenticeship program to make sure that all of the hours match up with regulations, and students will get their journeyman's card as, you know, an A&P mechanic or whichever path they choose that's most relevant to you. So since that is getting approved soon, just be on the lookout, follow our social media. We will announce when this is fully approved and when we are ready to enroll for that program. So that's one of the upcoming and new ones. A couple of other areas we have been talking about are looking into clean energy manufacturing and electronics manufacturing and how to expand. So like I said, if you have any input, even if it's something I haven't mentioned today, we are always looking to create more training opportunities for the manufacturing industry. Another thing that I want to cover, Dennis mentioned earlier, one of the benefits to partnering with AJAC is our hiring pipelines. And we have, again, this is another place that we've expanded so much. We'll start with a hiring pipeline and then we've expanded. So you can see we've chosen a couple to highlight here. The first one I wanted to bring your attention to is our Manufacturing Academy program, or a pre-apprenticeship program. So this is a training pipeline program for individuals who are unemployed or have barriers to work, or just really want to get into the manufacturing industry, but have never worked in it before. And it's hard to get into a position when they're not as familiar with blueprints or precision measurement. And so they're able to attend a training with AJAC in Manufacturing Academy. That training lasts for 10 to 12 weeks. We certify all of our students in OSHA 10, first aid, forklift driving. They get an introduction to lean manufacturing, and they also do blueprint reading, precision measurement. We cover tons of different skills, including machining or maintenance competencies. And we have Manufacturing Academy programs across the entire state. So if you're interested in hiring someone from the Manufacturing Academy program that has graduated, just contact your local program manager or any one of us on the call, and we'll connect you to someone that can help. A really cool thing that we just added with Manufacturing Academy is that if you hire one of our MA graduates and put them into apprenticeship, AJAC will pay the tuition for their first class in the apprenticeship program. So it's a great opportunity for you to bring someone on right away, get them involved in the apprenticeship, and we have that kind of added bonus for you for doing that and partnering with us in that. The second kind of hiring or pipeline program I'd like to highlight is our youth apprenticeship program. Again, this is something that exists all across the state. We partner with, I think we're up to 15 or 16 different school districts across the state that we partner with. And this is registered apprenticeship in the high school, which is a really cool opportunity for students. They get to take 3 college level dual credit courses with AJAC as part of their high school classes. And then they get to work part-time during the school day at your shop in that registered apprenticeship program, where they're rotating around different parts of your shop and learning on there. And they get their, classes through the high school. The youth apprentices do get a journeyman's card, and normally they're in more of that helper or assistant position. So we have kind of 2 tracks for them in that. One is a maintenance track that we call automation technician, and one is a machining track that we call production technician. So again, with any of these, you can reach out to us. We have programs all across the state, so there's multiple ways for you to connect to some of these pipelines. The last one I'd like to highlight is our military pathways. We have 2 different programs that we're partnering in to help transitioning military members get a job in the civilian world as they're looking at transitioning out of the military. So the first one is WorkX. This is a really cool program. I have a personal connection to the WorkX program where my husband actually went through it and did an internship. So how this one works is that in the last 3 to 6 months of a service member's, enlistment, they're able to actually do an internship at your company for any opening that fits your needs and fits their interests. So in the case of my husband, he was able to do data analytics, really cool internship opportunity for him. And the best part for it as an employer is that the military continues to pay that service member's salary during that time that they're interning with you. And so we have been helping connect service members to the manufacturing industry through that internship program at WorkX. The second one I'd like to highlight for military connections is Operation Next, which we have partnered with a couple of different community colleges to offer this one. It's pretty similar to WorkX. The main difference is that Operation Next is specific to the machinist occupation, and they actually take 7 weeks of machinist training at a local community college. And then AJAC comes in and we help connect them to businesses for an 8-week internship as a machinist specifically, where the WorkX is for any position you have open that service member is interested in. Like I mentioned, both of these programs are no cost to you as an employer. It's a great way to bring someone on as an intern and then hopefully fill that full-time position you have with someone who is able to get some training at no cost to you. So just a couple of frequently asked questions about our programs. And I think, yeah, the youth apprenticeship, thanks Amy for covering that one. So a couple questions that normally come up when we talk to people about our programs. Number one is, what is my time commitment? Overall in the programs, the time commitment just varies depending on what apprenticeship program you'd like to engage in. Your apprentices will either be committed for a 1.5 years or 18 months of training, like in the logistics and operations specialist, all the way up to 4, maybe 5 years, depending on how much of a mastery level apprenticeship you choose. But that being said, I'm going to kind of combine this with the third question that's listed on here. Your day-to-day time commitment, where AJAC comes in, is we handle all of the administration of that program for you. We handle placing them into classes, registering them with the college. As Amy mentioned in the chat, in the case of youth apprenticeship, we help with L&I and communicating with teen worker safety, because our goal is to take as much of that day-to-day administration of the program off of you so that you can focus on training your employees on the job like you're already doing. And then we can help with, running that structured apprenticeship program. So we try to take most of that as much as we can away from you. The day-to-day schedule is mostly just doing that rotation and that training with your employees, and then approving hours once a month, which takes less than 10 minutes normally. So we've tried to keep that really minimal on the time commitment for you. The cost of the program, we've talked about this a couple of times, but there's no initial cost to partner with AJAC, and all of the services, mentorship training, recruitment from Manufacturing Academy, everything we've mentioned, there's no cost associated with that. If you do decide to do a registered apprenticeship program at your company, you have some options with that tuition. As Dennis mentioned, tuition is 50% discounted, which comes out to the tuition just increased. So it's about $375 per quarter. And you can choose if you'd like to pay that cost for your employees. You can choose if you want to work it into your existing educational reimbursement plan, or if you want to pass that cost on to your employees. And any one of us program managers on the call would be happy to talk to you about your options and what fits best. But tuition is the only cost associated with the program. It's not a requirement for you to pay. Like I mentioned, there's options for you depending on what fits best for your company. And so I'm going to pass it over to Amy and have her kind of close out our presentation here.
Thanks. Well, who's really excited? Who's ready to sign somebody up? Who's ready to talk to us? How do you get started? So all we just need to do, we'll do an initial meeting. Let's talk about what your training gaps are. Maybe you need some hiring help. What can we do to help you support you in your business? We can talk to you just about anything: workforce development, short-term training, apprenticeship. We are here to be a tool in your toolkit to help you provide great training experience and bring great people into your shop. So all we need to do is do an initial meeting. It can be virtual. We're happy to do that. Or if you want, we're happy to come on site. We'd love to get to know you, see what your shop is like, learn more about your needs and training needs. So just reach out to your local RPM, we call ourselves the RPM team. So like one of us on the call. And if you're not even sure which one, we can all help. It does not matter who you reach out to first. So we'd love to do an initial meeting to talk through what you're looking for. Then we can talk about what's the next step? How to design the program that fits very well for your shop. We'll create any kind of internal tools. We'll go through what does apprenticeship mean for you. We can do some mentorship matters training for your frontline supervisors if you want. We can go through some customized competency checklist. Really make sure that you are comfortable with what's happening at your shop. And then we're happy to do a info session with maybe any employees that might be interested. We could come out, do a little quick half-hour, 45-minute presentation, much like we're doing here, for your employees, and talk to them about what does apprenticeship mean coming to my shop, and can I be involved, and answer all their questions. And then once that happens, once you're ready, you're signed up with us, we'll start to enroll apprentices. We are currently in the throes of our fall enrollment. So if you have anyone right now that's really interested and maybe has been talking, or maybe you've been thinking about it, we'd love to get them enrolled for fall. We do have an August 25th deadline. We have another new baby with our AJAC team. So Ellie handles all our school enrollments. She's out on maternity leave. So we want to make sure we've got enough time to handle all the enrollments for fall. So we do have a deadline for the 25th. But if that is a little too fast, we've got plenty of time, because we'll enroll again at the start of the year. So early December-ish, when we start our winter enrollment. So we'd love to talk to you. We'd love to start getting the conversation. Or maybe you've been with us for a while and it's been a while since you've done any kind of apprenticeship, or maybe your previous, you heard the HR that was here before you talked about it. We'd love to re-engage and talk to you about it. Next slide, Heather. So again, thank you so much for joining us today. We love to share kind of what we're doing and new things that are coming. We'd love to get feedback from you about what do you need? What are your needs? What are you facing in your shops across here in the Northwest? How can we help you with that? You see the list of all of us here. Again, Aaron is our North Sound. I am the Central South Sound. Damian is our Southwest Washington. Heather is our Central Washington, and Dennis is our Northeast and Idaho coverage. We'd love to hear from you. So we're going to open it up to questions right now. If you're comfortable, you could hop off and get into chat. If you want to get on video, Heather could enable that if we want. If not, throw something in the questions or chat, any kind of questions you have. We'd love to hear from you, and we'd love to get to know you and how we can serve you better. And thank you for joining us.
Yes, thank you.
And we are going to send this out, these slides out, and this video out to everyone that's joining us today. We'll also probably have a link up on our website. Our website, again, is another great place to kind of just connect, kind of look through the different occupations. Every occupation is listed up there on our website. So if there's one you're a little bit interested in, feel free to hop on to our website to get some more information as well. Looks like we have a military pathways question.
That's a great question, Chris. So he asked, doesn't matter if the individual is active duty or the reserves. So both of these programs are actually run through, I'm pretty sure SkillBridge manages both of them. I know for sure they can be active duty, but I think if they're active in the reserves, it might be open to them. I would need to double check the SkillBridge website, but I know for sure that those training programs are open to active duty in any branch of the military. And right now with those, I think we're primarily partnering with JBLM, but we're also talking with some different bases across the state to talk about expanding our manufacturing connection for those internships all across the state. And when those military members come out of JBLM, they move, they might move outside of the Puget Sound. So I've had a couple in Central Washington. I think Dennis has had a couple move over, so they can kind of move anywhere or intern anywhere. They don't have to intern close to base. So that part is also kind of nice. Reserves, though, I'll have to double check, and we'll get back to you, Chris, on that specifically. Information that we can fill out for that student for any accommodations that they need in the classroom. We have multiple options available and have trained, different students with disabilities. So you can let that apprentice know that we have options for them, and we'll meet with them individually to make sure that the classroom that they're going to be in, the instructor they'll have, the media that we'll be using will serve them and help them and make sure that they can learn in all of the classes that are available. Thank you. Yeah, I appreciate your questions. Thank you, Chris.
Yeah, and just to follow up with that, we also are pretty versed in English as a second language. So if you have employees that feel apprehensive because maybe they're unsure they'll be successful in the classroom, we are happy to meet with them and discuss the possibilities and opportunities that we have to make sure they're successful in classroom. We have a Engine, which is a online platform where they can take some English as second language kind of training that's very specific to manufacturing. And then we have teachers that are versed in this kind of experience. So we really want to make sure all apprentices are successful in class, and how can we help them and support them in that. So we're always looking to do more in that area and get more information to serve apprentices across all walks of wherever they're coming from, meet them wherever they're coming from.
All right, well, if there is no more questions, I haven't seen any more come through. We just want to say thank you again so much for joining us. Feel free to reach out to us. You have our contact information listed there. And like Amy mentioned, we will send out everything from the recording today to those of you that attended or RSVP'd. And so we hope to hear from you in the future and partner with you in our apprenticeship to train your workforce and help fill some of those open positions. So thank you again for joining us. It was great to, chat with all of you today. And we look forward to working with you in the future.